The autumn breeze in the Appalachian Mountains carries a sharp chill. It sweeps through the hollows, shaking the last stubborn leaves from the oak trees. It was on a day like that, with the sky the color of iron, that Maya Reed stepped onto the porch of the most secluded cabin in Stone Ridge, West Virginia. Her 2 children clung close behind her like wary fawns. Every woman in the county had tried to win the attention of Ethan Cole, the withdrawn homesteader living on that ridge. Each one had been turned away by his quiet indifference. But Maya didn't arrive with a pie or a sweet smile. She walked right up to the infamous mountain man, met his gaze, and spoke with a calm determination that would alter both their lives. "Are you looking for someone to help you manage this place?" she asked, her voice steady against the wind. "Or are you planning to face another winter up here on your own?" Settle in, friends. This is a story that shows how the most life-changing bonds often begin not with love, but with unflinching honesty. Before we continue, hit that like button, subscribe so you don't miss the next chapter, and tell me in the comments where in the world you're watching from. I love seeing how far these stories travel. For Maya Reed and her children, the end of the road looked like the dusty parking lot of Stone Ridge's only general store. Their aging sedan, after coughing its way across 3 states, finally gave a last shudder and died. The silence that followed was broken only by the creak of the store's sign swaying in the cold wind. On the porch, Dale, the weathered store owner, spat tobacco into a can. "Another family chewed up and spit out by the city," he muttered. "Third one this month." Inside, Maya stood with her 10-year-old son, Leo, and her 7-year-old daughter, Lily. Their lives fit into 2 duffel bags and a worn backpack. Leo, with sandy hair and travel-tired clothes, tried to act brave. Lily hugged a ragged doll as if it were all she had left. When Maya stepped outside, her posture carried a quiet grace that didn't match her weary look. Around 30, her eyes held the kind of strength that comes from surviving both laughter and tears. She surveyed the tiny town, if you could call a cluster of old buildings a town at all. She had overheard the locals talking inside about a man named Ethan Cole, a loner who'd built a homestead from the ground up, turning away every woman who tried to reach him. To most, he was a ghost story. To Maya, he sounded like a chance, maybe her last one. Just then, an old pickup rolled in, coated in mud and solitude. The man who stepped out was tall, broad-shouldered, and carried a quiet authority that seemed to pull the air around him still. At 34, Ethan Cole was known to be as unyielding as the mountains themselves, steady, hard, and untouched by charm. He expected her to look away, but Maya didn't. She took her children's hands and walked straight toward him. "Mama," Lily whispered, tugging her sleeve. "Who's that man?" "Hush, sweetheart," Maya murmured, her eyes never leaving Ethan's face. Up close, Ethan saw the exhaustion she couldn't hide, but also the strength in her expression. She stopped a few feet away, close enough to be heard, far enough to keep her dignity. The street seemed to freeze. Dale came down from his porch and faces appeared in windows watching. "You're Ethan Cole," she said. It wasn't a question. "I am," he replied. "I'm Maya Reed. These are my children, Leo and Lily. I hear you might be looking for help." Dale laughed under his breath. "Ma'am, that's the last thing Ethan Cole's looking for." Maya ignored him, keeping her eyes fixed on Ethan. "You've turned down every woman, haven't you?" "I'm not searching for a wife," Ethan said, crossing his arms. "I've got work to do." "And winter's coming," she said evenly. "Hard to run a place this size alone. Hard to chop wood when you're mending clothes. Hard to check traps when you're canning vegetables." "I manage," he said flatly. "I'm sure you do," she replied. "But managing isn't the same as living. And from what I hear, you've been managing for a long time." Her words hit something he didn't expect. "Mrs. Reed," he said, trying to end the talk, "I'm not in the market. Try someone else." "I've done my research," she said without hesitation. "Mark Sawyer drinks. Jim Thompson has a temper. Ben Wallace means well but wouldn't survive one harsh winter." He blinked, surprised. She'd been in town less than an hour and already assessed every man like a ledger. "You've done your homework," he admitted. "I have 2 children, Mr. Cole. I can't afford mistakes. I'm not chasing love. I'm chasing survival." The honesty in her tone was sharper than any flirtation. "I wish you luck, Mrs. Reed," he said quietly. She stepped closer, her eyes steady. "Then answer me this. Are you looking for a partner to help you run this place, or are you planning to spend another winter here alone?" "Alone doesn't bother me," he muttered. "No?" she said, tilting her head. "Then why do you come to town every week when you have everything you need?" "You're not waiting for supplies. You're waiting for something else." The question is, do you even know what it is? The words left him exposed. Still, he couldn't walk away. What are you proposing? A business arrangement, she replied. I'll cook, clean, tend the garden, and help with repairs. In return, room, board, and a bit of stability for my kids. Nothing more, unless time changes that. It was the most reasonable and the most dangerous proposal he'd ever heard. I'll think about it, he said. Of course, she answered, her voice calm. We'll be at the motel while I look for work. No, he said quickly, then softened. Not here, not with everyone watching. There's a spot by the old bridge, 1 hour. She nodded and extended her hand. Her grip was firm, calloused, real. 1 hour, she said. As he walked away, Dale muttered, Well, I'll be damned. She got him talking for more than 30 seconds. The next morning, Dale drove them up the mountain road to Ethan's cabin. The place was solid, built from heavy logs with a wide porch and a view that could steal your breath. It was sturdy, clean, and empty, more fortress than home. Maya's children explored their rooms with disbelief and wonder. Leo stared at his small space like it was a kingdom. It's mine? He asked. That's the idea, Ethan said. Maya's voice softened as she looked around. It's more than enough. In the following days, Maya moved through the house with quiet efficiency. She uncovered forgotten touches, a hand-stitched tablecloth, old curtains, and slowly the place began to feel alive again. Ethan found himself teaching Leo how to split wood, check the power systems, and read the clouds. When he showed him how to handle a rifle, Leo hesitated. My father said guns are for weak men. Your father was right about words, Ethan said gently. But up here, sometimes words aren't enough. Protecting your family is. Even little Lily began to ask questions that cracked Ethan's defenses. Mr. Cole, she said seriously one afternoon, do you think my mama's pretty? He looked over at Maya, hair loose, dirt on her cheek, sunlight in her eyes. I think your mama's strong, he said softly, and strength lasts longer than pretty. That night, Maya thanked him quietly on the porch. He just nodded, unsure how to handle the warmth spreading through him. Days turned to weeks, and Ethan began noticing the small things. The way Maya hummed while cooking, Leo's courage, Lily's laughter filling the spaces he hadn't known were empty. The ice around his heart started to melt. Then the storm came. The sky darkened to green and black, wind roaring through the valley. Ethan and Leo barely reached the cabin before the hail started. Inside, Maya held Lily close as the house groaned under the storm's rage. Hey, Ethan said to Lily, kneeling beside her. You hear all that noise? That's not anger. That's the house fighting for us. Every creak means it's holding strong. The house is talking, she whispered. Exactly, he smiled. It's saying, I won't let you down. When their eyes met, Maya mouthed a silent thank you. It was the first time Ethan realized that strength wasn't always silence, it was care. When the storm cleared, they worked side by side repairing the damage. That teamwork quietly bound them together in ways neither could name. But peace never lasts long. Jed Barlow, a greedy developer, arrived soon after, smirking, threatening, and trying to force Ethan to sell his land. When sabotage and fires followed, Ethan knew the danger was real. He taught Maya to shoot not out of fear but preparation. This isn't your fault, he told her. I know, she said. But now he knows you care about us, and that makes you vulnerable. When Lily fell gravely ill from an allergic reaction, Ethan drove through mud and darkness to fetch the doctor. The 7-mile trip felt endless. The fear in his chest wasn't duty, it was love. After Lily recovered, Maya quietly said, The trial month's almost over. I know, he replied. Winter's coming. Best we don't change things now. No, Ethan, she said softly. You're not being practical. You're being scared. She was right. But for the first time, fear didn't feel empty. It felt alive. Then Barlow's final blow came, a false land claim meant to ruin Ethan. Desperate, Maya brought out a pouch of cash. It's not my money or your money, she said. It's ours. We fight together, or not at all. Looking at her and the children, offering everything they had, Ethan's walls finally collapsed. This isn't just about land anymore, he said quietly. It never was, Maya answered. He looked at her, then spoke words he never thought he'd say. I'm proposing, Maya, because somewhere along the way you and these kids became my home. I'm terrified, but I'm more afraid of losing you. Tears filled her eyes. That's not a romantic proposal, she whispered. You never asked for romance, he said with a faint smile. You asked for truth. Just say yes, Mama, Lily giggled. The house wants you to. That's a yes, Maya said through her tears. God help us both. They were married the next day in a simple courthouse ceremony. It wasn't grand, but it was real. When Barlow tried one last time to humiliate them, the townspeople stood by Ethan's side, forming a quiet wall of loyalty. Barlow left defeated. On the drive home, Lily broke the silence with a proud grin. Papa hit him real good, she said. Ethan stopped the truck, turning to Leo. I'd be honored to be your father, he said softly. Papa, the boy whispered back, tears in his eyes. That evening, as the sun painted the valley gold, Ethan sat on the porch beside his wife, listening to the soft sound of his children sleeping safely inside. For the first time in years, he wasn't surviving another winter. He was home. The house, like the man, was no longer lonely. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Your support keeps these stories alive.